feel to know I let you down. These late nights turn to days, don't wanna let you down. With each breath we give away, it'll never be the same. I'm chasing somebody who won't ever ease the pain, but I don't want half of your heart, heart, heart. You can have it back if it's only half of your heart.
Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
I feel like I'm afraid to say how I feel, to know I let you down. These late nights turn to days, don't wanna let you down. With each breath we give away, it'll never be the same. I'm chasing somebody who won't ever ease the pain, but I don't want
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checkered TV. We are back with the Area 51 Indycar Series here on Tuesday nights. It will be a 14 race long season here tonight, opening off at Homestead Miami Speedway with a amazing car count. So big thank you to all the drivers here tonight. 30 drivers look to be taking part in tonight's event. Race will be 122 laps. And as always, the one fast repair available to all the drivers. However, again, IndyCar side, no green, white checkers. And then, of course, also a season-long point standing. So there will be 2 drop weeks, but it'll be season-wide, no playoffs, anything like that, like we see on the Super Speedway side of things. But yeah, no, it's going to be fun to see. Glad to have everybody back here tonight. Some new names, new faces. Some, again, returning names and faces. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how this one's gonna build up over the course of the season. So, so we'll get into what the schedule is gonna look like for this upcoming season. Obviously, we see right here kicking off tonight at Homestead Miami. Then next week we head over to Texas, and then Pocono will be the third of the 3 races in a row. Then, of course, off week there for the 4th of July weekend. That way, if anybody wants to run a little longer of a weekend, that's available. And then you can see you're going to have a couple weeks in a row there through July with Gateway Chicagoland. And then there will be some left and right racing at Watkins Glen. However, it's going to be very, very fast left and right racing because it's going to be pretty much the full speed version of the track. So no bus stop and kind of the shorter version of the track than, I guess, the NASCAR version, if you will. So they're going to be running some really quick lap times there. Should be a lot of fun. Then back to Auto Club Speedway where we had our finale last season. Milwaukee Mile for one of our flat tracks. Then overseas into Twin Ring Motegi. Then bringing it over to Charlotte. A very different 1.5 mile oval for these guys. Probably haven't run that one in a while. And then over to Michigan, again, one of my favorite tracks. And then go to another flat track there at Loudon, New Hampshire. And then the last 2 races will be at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And then the finale right before the Thanksgiving break at Indianapolis, a 500K race, and it's going to be double points. So kind of a bit of a little extra thing that way. Also, I think to me helps incentive a little bit. Try to like, hey, you might be out of it, but hey, I mean, never know what double points can do. I know, and said, Andrew, you might be able to chime on this when you're back, but I want to say IndyCar did do a double points finale at some point in the previous years. So not sure if you remember that one off by hand or not.
Actually, I do remember that one. I can't remember the year exactly, but I do remember it was Juan Pablo Montoya that lost the championship that year at Sonoma because he had quite a lead and then he got taken out in the race or something like that. It was Sonoma. It was Juan Pablo Montoya. I cannot remember the year. It was somewhere around the 2015 or 16 season or something like that. But yeah, they did have double points in that one instance. But the double points thing does kind of shake things up a little bit in such a way that you don't really actually know what you're getting yourself into. You think you have such a lead, and then anything could happen. In the case that Montoya lost that championship.
Yeah, I know exactly right, and I would assume based on that too that's going to be a race that's basically one of the non-droppable races, if you will, as well, with it being a double points. So there'll be some things we have to learn over the course of the season, but again, you can see all the info here for when practices, the race entry. I say obviously a $20 entry to help cover the broadcasts and everything as well. But yeah, like. I don't know, man. Andrew, I'm excited about this one. Like I said, we've got a huge car count here tonight. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then also the big thing, why we pushed back a week, was a huge build update for this car. And some of it's going to throw some of the regulars off a little bit. I was hearing that the dash on these cars very different to what the guys are used to seeing. So some of the settings, they might have to be careful not to be inversed, if you will. But yeah, so a lot of physical changes, some setup adjustments it looks like as well. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for all these guys. And like I said, as always too, putting new names to new faces and and getting on track with some guys that maybe you haven't run with throughout the course of the season. So I'm looking forward to see what these guys are going to have for tonight. However, before we get to all of that, we got to get to our starting grid for tonight. And it looks like we're going to have what we talked about, those new names, new faces. We're going to have one of those on the pole position here this evening. And that is going to be Treston Forston in that number 12 there. He's going to take pole position here tonight. And then we'll jump next to him, Edson Santos. Edson, definitely one we're used to seeing up front. Then you got Matt Wagner there in third. Matt's all racing now, Andrew. He doesn't have to worry about any of the admin side of things. He's just a driver tonight, so he's going to have fun there tonight. And I think we're going to see a different Matt this evening. Christopher, we've talked pre-race. This is one of his favorite tracks. It'll be fun to see what he's got in store for them tonight. Then you got Craig Forsyth kind of taking over the full admin duties, was helped on the admin side last season, kind of running the show here tonight. And then John Borst there in the number 86, starting in 6th position. Ran a few races last season. Hopefully he'll be able to run a little bit more throughout the course of this one. Jim Herrick, of course, 40 racewear there. 7th, Daniel Durazo. 8th, Shane Coker and Larry Yingling. Those that know Larry on the oval side of things, on the stock cars, we'll see what he can do on the open wheels. Then Gary Laverne there in 11th, Eric Peterson 12th. And we're going to be scrolling for a while here. Charles Johnson, 13th, Derek Catt in 14th. Then you got Charles Teed, Nicholas Stockner, Jeff Heisong, Ryan Kelly, Eric Schaus, Nick Cohan, Wayne Campbell, and Chris Jabot. And then you have Devin Brock there in the 904, Frank Irwin Jr. in the 44. And these guys are about to get rolling before I even get all the way done here. That's what we've got. You got Everett Lane, Bill Burrell, Robert Smith, Joseph Morales, Bill Colley, and Brandon Briggs. 30 cars here tonight, and they are rolling here for the season opener. Like I said, it's going to be one that's going to be interesting. Again, a lot of new names, a lot of new faces. Guys are going to have to get familiar with one another. So we'll see how race number 1 pays out on this one, because you just never know, I feel like, in these, Andrew.
Yeah, with the season opener and a new car build that has everything a little bit different, even in terms of a different steering wheel, maybe a different tire compound and everything, how it feels, and getting used to the people that race around you, it could be a little bit wild. But I think this is a good opportunity for some of these new faces, and there are a lot of them. There are quite a few names here that I do not recognize myself. Learning new liveries and learning new ways of driving and different strategies and everything like that. I think it's going to be very interesting. So I'm actually very excited to see this. And IndyCar under the lights at Homestead, there's nothing really better than that. So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see. Of course, like you said, track conditions going to change too. Right now, 86 degrees track temp. And then also got to mention fuel mileage here. If you're going full send, should be about 37 to 38 laps, it sounds like, from what I was getting from these guys. So we'll have to wait and see what the mileage strategy is for these drivers. Of course, you're going to see 2 different trains of thought as we are green. Treston Forston going to bring them to the start-finish line. Got a nice little jump here off the way. Then you can see Matt Wagner going to try to follow through on the inside line, but now everybody's got to try to mind their P's and Q's and get those tire temps up and just try to work that dirty air right off the bat.
One thing that's a little different this year than previous years at Area 51 is you do not have to wait for the green flag to go. So once the pace car is off, the lead driver can take off, and that's exactly what Treston Forston did. He was ready to go right off the start and kind of caught the second row sleeping a little bit there as he continues to lead this race.
And it might be just like you said, where the changes, some on the car side, some on the rule side, and the reason is, let's say this is one of those ones where we always talk about the accordion on the restarts, Andrew, and that's kind of one of the things. Okay, let's try to get them to go a little earlier, maybe try to help break it up, because the later you go, we always talk about drivers trying to kind of time the restarts a little bit, get that little bit of a jump, and so that's what they're working on here, is to try to clean that up a little bit. And so right now, you see a great battle here with Edson Santos, Matt Wagner right there. And then Stouffer, we talked about him pre-race. You mentioned that he likes this track, and he's trying to go for that top spot here, running that top side here, and loving that updated 40 racewear paint scheme as well in that 13 car.
A little bit of a disappointing qualifying session for Eric Schaus. One of our usual front runners here. He started the race in 19th, but he's already up to P16, it looks like. So already making some moves at the start. But Homestead is traditionally one of those tracks where it's very difficult to try and get a big run on guys, because both sides of the track are so different, and it takes a little bit to get your car used to racing the progressive banking in 1 and 2, and then trying to find that optimal line based on how the car is working in 3 and 4. So a lot of these guys really find this to be a track position race. So some of these guys in the middle and the back part of the pack are really going to be looking for a different sort of strategy with cautions and stuff like that to get their way up front, or even some sort of fuel save and an undercut to get those positions. But Homestead has traditionally been a track position race. So let's see how these guys take with this new car update and how they're really taking to this.
Yeah, right now, as you can see, it's really singled out, which is kind of what you would expect to see. And then, like you said, though, Andrew, as well, you're going to have to find the clean air. And Homestead's an interesting one to me. I don't know how noticeable it is with the IR18s. However, I have noticed a lot of times that 1 and 2, I feel like, is just a faster overall turn than 3 and 4. For whatever reason, you have to really kind of slow it down a little more in 3 and 4 than you do in 1 and 2. So same thing there. What you might do in one turn, you may not be able to do in the other set of turns. So another thing that you kind of just have to play around with. But yeah, you're exactly right. Those Chouse up 3 spots from his starting position. Teed as well in that 50. And say we know Teed's not one to ride around, so we'll have to keep an eye and see what he's able to do. I do have one off into pit road. Oh, yeah, big trouble there for Robert Smith. Not sure. We'll try to see if I can jump back and catch what happened to him.
I actually did catch that. There was a single car spin on the exit of turn 2, but he...
Oh, yeah, he just lost it off of 2, but yeah, big hit there. But able to get back to pit road, so that's we talked about the fast repair. That's going to be going on right now. And you can see the wings on, tires look happy, so he should be rolling. Probably had an unsafe pit entry would be my assumption with that damage. And that's another thing we got to mention here. If we get to that green flag pit stop window, Andrew, it's not coming off of 4. You're going to have to run that pit entry lane kind of like on the exit wall. So they're going to have to try to hustle that apron, entering turn number 3 and gain as much time as they can. But got to be very careful not to slide up into the grass and then back onto the track. So that's going to be one of those big things to keep an eye on here tonight. But up front, though, Tristan and Chris, Chris is trying. He's trying for all he's worth, but right now, I think I saw Peterson maybe just get a little scuff of the wall there out of 4. But right now, Tristan's been able to hang on to that one despite Stouffer's best efforts.
Yeah, it's very busy down here from about 12th to 16th place, too. A lot of these guys that have been trading positions left and right, basically just trying to find the clean air as best they can. So it may seem like these guys have gained the most spots down here, but it seems like they're going for every position they possibly can. But it seems that the top 10, 11 or so have kind of broken off a little bit. You see Larry Yingling there is kind of back of the first bit of the train there, and he seems to be doing pretty well in his IndyCar debut here.
Yeah, no, and Larry's, like I said, Larry's one that I've seen, obviously on the Cup side of things, kind of running the NASCAR oval stuff. Not super speedway, just the oval. And yeah, he's really, really good at what he does. He's also been able to pull over some friends as well with Ryan Kelly in the 33 as well. So, like I said, it's really fun for me to see these guys that I haven't seen race in a couple of seasons. And you saw right there that move by Ryan cut way down, a little bobble there off of 2, but cut way down there, was able to clear. But you can see the crossover attempt here by Jeff Heisong is going to try to get back underneath as well. But it looks like momentum is going to stick over here. And let's say, first off, got to appreciate the chat here. Let's say on YouTube, already got one. And looking for Daniel Durazo. He is right now up into the 6th position there in that number 2 car, up 2 spots. So right now looking good in that car. And he's one that I think we've talked about last season a lot, where in contention a lot, I feel like, Andrew, just the luck never went the right way for him to get into that spot to go for those wins at the end of these races.
I think that Durazo had a lot of pace, but he didn't quite know exactly where to use it, and I think that comes down to experience. So if he had learned anything in the last season, he's going to use that opportunity to say, okay, maybe I need to tamp down my ability a little bit and pounce where I need to, instead of saying, oh, I lost 5 spots, I need to get them back right away, or maybe do a fuel save too late or something like that, where it puts him in a spot where he has to kind of chase afterwards. So I think this could be a season where Durazo can get himself a win. Going back up front, though, Stouffer and Fortson have really, really been going at it. Stouffer has been trying to get any advantage he possibly can. He was side-by-side with Fortson for the last several laps. Unfortunately, he lost out a little bit last lap coming through 3 and 4, so now he's back behind Fortson again. But I mean, this is a track I know Stouffer. I've raced with Stouffer for many years. He is very much a Homestead fan, and he always manages to find a really, really good finish here. So the new car updates really haven't phased him too much in such a way where he's fallen back, but I think he may have burned his tires up a little bit too early. It looks like he's not going to lose P2.
Yeah, and I was about to say that I'm almost wondering if Edson's just kind of sitting there just like, yeah, you guys keep doing this. I love what you're doing, because he's one of those guys who I feel like we talked about, him and Rafael Eckert, really good long-run drivers, able to keep those tires in check. And from what I was told kind of during practice, tires are going to be very important here tonight to try to manage them, especially the temperatures. And again, stuff we'd mentioned. Won't be able to see, again, all the details, unfortunately, from our point of view, but we'll hop on here with Daniel Durazo, for instance, and you can see right here all the info. You got the map there, the regen. You got with the front rear ARB is the weight jacker. So, again, we don't see what those actual info are, unfortunately. We do see what the gears they are. But then also the bottom right, I think, is the big one for me, Andrew, is tire temperature. These guys are going to be able to know what their tire temps are and say, okay, I'm killing my right front temperature-wise. I'm going to have to do something to adjust it. So that's going to be, I think, the biggest thing for a lot of these drivers is being able to make these adjustments and kind of having that live data to go after, to go off of and be able to use that. So that's, I think, one of the biggest changes, especially behind the wheel.
It's definitely going to be a big change. You're used to seeing kind of one thing and then something else sort of appears afterwards. So I think it's something for the drivers to definitely get used to. And I know that if something looks a little different for me, I'm a little uncomfortable from the start, because I'm like, okay, what am I looking at right now?
It's like trouble for Everett Lane there too here. Sorry about that. He's got some pretty much identical, looks like what happened to Robert Smith here. So probably same thing. I'm thinking we'll see the fast parry up there. It goes popped on. So I'm going to check real quick if I can see. It looks like he's already had the trouble. So let's back up a little more here for Everett.
At a turn 4, it looks like.
Just again loose. And, right across the nose of another car there. But, yeah, just catches the inside wall. But, again, though, took the fast pair, is rolling back out now. And so same thing for him with Robert Smith is they're going to have to try to keep this thing clean. But Treston, though, he's loving in his mirror, though, because he's got about a half a second. He's got a big fight right now. You've got Stouffer still there. Wagner's joined the fight now as well, along with Edson. And they've been able to break away from Craig a little bit here, which I don't think there's any magical fuel mileage that Craig could be aiming for, but you never know in these things. So never count Craig's strategy out here. But, man, these guys are having a nice little battle here. And then just a little bit further back there, I was watching Jim Herrick is working around with Daniel Durazo as well. He's closed that gap as well. And you got Peterson there, Schaus, Larry Yingling. They're all coming together. So a lot of little battles here coming on here. You got John Borst there with Nicholas Stockner. But I'm looking at, you talked about earlier, this group right here from pretty much from Teed all the way down to Chris Jabot. These guys are just right on top of each other. All these cars just within a couple tenths here and there. So any little hiccup any of these guys have, you know they're going to be pouncing after them.
Yeah, going back to the Forsyth thing, I believe he lost a little time because he was side by side with Durazo for quite some time there. So that allowed the leader, the people ahead of him, to pull away a little bit. So he might be playing a little bit of catch up right now. I don't think it's really a fuel save. I think he just was embroiled in a battle, and he's finally finding his way back up towards that group again. One thing I want to mention about Stouffer is that Stouffer's been pinned to that high side for now at least 10 to 12 laps, where he's just trying to find his way. And when you get pinned up on the high side, you're putting so much pressure on your right side tires. Even with the progressive banking, if you just pin yourself up high, you are turning that wheel so much to make sure you make the corner, and that just eats up all the tire life there. So it's not really giving Stouffer an opportunity to really battle too much, whereas he's trying to hold on to the position. That's one of the big things with Homestead, is that when you're stuck up high, you're faster after a while, but you have to be able to let those tires cool off a little bit as well. So we'll have to see how it happens. I think these guys are all kind of playing a little bit of testing mode right now to see how their stint goes and how their tire life will last throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, and right now here comes Matt. He's been working his stuff too, and right there, though, you can see he runs the inside line. He's going to get the dirty air, and so that's going to make him have to roll out of it a little bit. Does really well, though, I got to say, even with that, to stay really close to Edson there, that side pod. But right now, we talked about some of the drivers making moves, and you mentioned Schaus early, and he is now up plus 11. Unfortunately, looks like a little bit of connection hiccups there too, though, for the 72 car. But yeah, up 11 spots into that 8th position. So qualifying didn't go the way he wanted it to. But man, I mean, he's less than 4 seconds off the lead. So Eric's done a really good job this opening stint here as Matt and Edson continue to battle here. But yeah, I mean, right now, again, the new names, new faces. Tristan starting from pole position, has just set a great time just controlling this race, been able to hold off that fight from Stouffer, and now it looks like he's starting to be able to take that benefit of that clean air.
You know, if I was still an Area 51 driver like I was 3 years ago, I would have loved to get a pole position at Homestead, because I knew that my race would be very, very easy to try and hold off a lot of these guys, because you can control your own pace, your own line, burn your tires at the right pace, and let everyone change their strategy to meet what you're doing. And that's something that's so big at this track. And Homestead personally is not one of my favorite tracks, just because it's very easy to get yourself out of rhythm here and say, I have to fight someone very hard to get a position or two, and try and find exactly how you're going. But the farther up front you start in this race, the easier your night is, given that there's no flip-flop of the strategy with a caution or something like that. So it's going to take really, really clever and creative from some of these guys in the back. And I know we talked about a 38 or 39 lap pit strategy here, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these mid-packers come in the next 2 or 3 laps or so to try and kind of flip it a little bit and hope that a caution goes their way.
Yeah, so yeah, this is going to be that risk versus reward part is exactly that. Do you want to maybe risk the short pit? Looking at lap times, they have fallen off, I would say, roughly about half a second to a second, depending on track position. Of course, Tristan, obviously the least fall off. His best lap was a 25.71. Last lap was a 26.22, so about half a second slower. But then there's some drivers that are further back that are definitely about a second or so slower a lap, just because, again, just from the dirty air and all that. And you can see Matt has gotten around Edson to grab that second spot solidly. And then you see Daniel Durazo now, he is fighting with Eric Schaus, and there goes Eric now plus 13 in that 72 car. So again, great opening stints for him. But yeah, you're exactly right though. We're just about at that window here. So like I said, we'll see kind of which drivers maybe blink first and say, all right, I'm going to come in. But at the same time, a new season, a lot of new names, new faces, a very difficult pit entry. If I'm one of these drivers, I'm thinking, man, I want to go as late as I can, because that's going to be my biggest fear of a caution during the pit cycle, and I don't want to be the one to get trapped out of it. So it will be fun to see who's going to be that driver to blink first. But right now, yeah, no takers as of yet. So, but yeah, right now, like I said, easily Schaus the highest climber, but then Nicholas Stockner in the 124, he is up 5 spots. Nick Cohan up 7 spots in the 21. I say again, definitely, I know him very well from the stock car side of things, so really fun to see him behind the wheel of these open wheel cars, and really strong opening run for him too. So again, hopefully no commentators curse on that one right here, Andrew. But yeah, we're about in that window with the next couple laps, honestly.
If you had gone 30 or 31 laps, you're in the window. So I would imagine that you're going to see some people coming down this lap or the next to try and do something a little different to gain a few spots. But I think at this point, it's the first race of the season that you don't know half of this field, that you don't know a caution could come out for anyone who kind of missteps a little bit on the pit entry, touches the grass, spins up on the track. I think people are probably scared to pit at this point. They just kind of want to ride it out and see how it goes. But someone's going to get a little angsty and say, you know what, I'm sick of following the 7 cars ahead of me. I'm coming in right now. So let's keep a watch on it on the next few laps or so.
Yep, I'm waiting the same thing, waiting to see if anybody ducks off. But if not, if these guys run it as far as they can, I mean, numbers would have to say it's going to be Tristan that's going to have to be the first to pit, just because he's had the clean air from the get-go. I don't see any way he's probably not running map 1 in that number 12 car. So yeah, we'll have to kind of keep an eye. But right now, I mean, he's going to come around here, start lap number 38, and still going on strong. But again, they were saying 38, 39, probably able to take on the full Rich side of things. So, and again, I think all these guys are going to stretch as far as they humanly can.
Yeah, these cars are getting very, very, very tight on the right front. I saw Daniel Durazo and I believe that was Craig that both brushed the wall out of turn 4 there. You know, at this point, Gael, I think they're trying to go to do it at 2-stop even. If you can go 41 laps, then you can do this on 41 and 82 and be done with it. But I don't know. It almost kind of seems like it would be a 2 versus 3 stop race here, but no one's taken the 3 stopper at all, even though the fact that, like you said, the lap times have really, really slowed down here.
Oh, you're right, actually. Yeah, so I bet you that's exactly it is. They said, you know what? We're really close to that lap 41 mark. Let's just get to that marker. So, yeah, so maybe lap 42 then is going to be the magic number for kind of the earliest you hit pit road. So that's going to be a fun one to see. As you can see right now, you got teammates there side by side, the 21, the 86. And again, Nick continuing to climb up there in that 21 car, now up into 12th, 8 spots gained for him. Schaus continuing to climb up 14 spots into the top 5.
Preston's coming in.
And
he's
here you go.
called this pit in.
So this is before the 42 mark, but now again, he's got to make sure he doesn't slide it on exit here. Bill Colley is also on pit road just in front of him.
Edson's coming in as well.
Oh, look at Edson hustle it in there. Oh, that looked like a great pin entry for Edson. Look at the time he gained there on the entry.
That was quite a pit in there. It looks like Frank Irwin Jr. is also coming in. So that's 40. If you make it 41, then you should be good to make it to the end, because that'll bring you to 123 if you do the same amount of fuel saving towards the end. So the 40s have a little bit to save, but the 41s should be able to easily make it. It looks like this is it, Kyle. Everyone was going for that 2-stop. We got a ton of people getting ready to call their pit ins right now.
Yeah, but I say there's Wagner, Stouffer, Forsyth. You got Peterson, Laverne, and man, again though, the pace that Schaus has had, and he's still able to go one lap longer than some of these guys. I mean, that just blows my mind. So here he comes. That was a big entry there, and you saw a little bit of grass there. Somebody came in a little too shallow, but it looks like Eric's going to get in nice and clean. He's going to have Daniel Durazo. Ooh, you can see Daniel kicked up a little bit of grass. Big lockup, saves it though. Great job by him.
That was sketchy, but like we were talking about, this is a new season, and you have no idea how any of these guys are pitting in, if they're being safe, if they're really trying to push it. There's any chance for a nice spin or something like that to get a caution, but it seems like everyone's being very, very cautious, being very, very safe thus far. But I think with the fuel save and everyone's pace being tamped down a little bit, it's helping a little bit. So
yeah, but saying you got Nick Cohen there, Stockner right behind him. There's Haisong Jabot coming in together. I can tell you already, you can see Tristan Forston, he's already unlapped himself. Just the pace of new tires versus old. You can see John Borst here, he's staying as low as he can, say, hey, I'm pitting, guys. So he's
Wagner's going for a move,
lead.
though.
All right,
Wagner is taking a spot from Fortson right there. So
that's
Wagner had just as good of a pit stop.
Yeah, and that's big right there. Look at Matt, he's going to jump to the inside. Who is that? He was going around trying to
Derek Cat.
Oh, yeah, jump around, get Derek Cat a little bit off sequence, obviously, than these guys. So now Matt's got that clean air. And right now, obviously, I think this actually is going to complete the cycle, because I've got Borston, Morales, Bill Burrell, all these guys on pit road. And Matt's going to come out with the clean air. And yeah, like you said, though, Andrew, great pit stop for him. I'm going to wait for everything to cycle. Obviously, we don't get the full details, of course, with the kind of the pit entry and the pit exit, but I'm just looking at pit lane time. Matt Wagner had 38.10 to Treston's 38.78 total, where actually Stouffer was a 37.85, so even quicker. But yeah, so really impressive though. Matt definitely in that in and out sequence, so he by far got the most out of all of it there. And we did see, I think Tristan maybe gave up a little bit, just due to the fact that we saw what Edson was able to chase him down on. So yeah, really, really good job. And the one I'm the most impressive with here, Andrew, is 0 pit penalties through that green stop. Everybody had an 8-9 second pit stop, no stop and holds for unsafe entry. Great opening pit cycle for these guys.
Yeah, I was watching a lot of these guys come in and leave, and it just seemed like everybody had everything sort of dialed in nicely. Everyone had their brake bias set the proper way. No one really rushed it, but I think that had to do also with the fact that everyone had to push it for an extra 2 or 3 laps. Like we were talking about, it's about 38, 39 laps to save that extra time. I think people are already kind of paced down a little bit and feeling very relaxed and just trying to put themselves in a spot where they were very comfortable, so that when you pit in, it's like, okay, I'll just hit the brakes, I'll just ride down the pit entry. But there's always going to be a little bit of gamesmanship there, which we saw with this Matt Wagner move to the lead here. He seemed to say, okay, like he's almost predicting it in his head, saying, I'm going to try and push the entry here a little bit more. I'm going to brake to make sure I make the cones here a little bit more. And if he hit his box perfectly, that would have made all the difference for him. So nice job for Matt, and now Treston's playing catch-up.
Yep, and right now Stover's caught back up to Edson here. You can see working a little bit of traffic there as well. But yeah, right now you've got the top 4 all within really close touching distance. Craig's just about a second and a half back there in the 99. We talked about Schaus, of course, as well in the 72, still up to 6th after the cycle is complete. But yeah, while we were talking about that, though, I saw the perfect example of the dirty air there, where a lap ago, Nick Cohan was able to get in front of Nicholas Stockner and then was in the line that Nicholas wanted to be in, and that 124 car just drifted up the racetrack, just getting from all that dirty air from the back of the 21 car. But you can see he was able to regroup and get back around. So right now, though, Andrew, I mean, I'm looking at the track right now. I mean, we've basically just got a conveyor belt here, and actually I'm going to kind of give a good look at that. Is we'll kind of go through the start-finish line here and just watch here. You can see just the constant stream of cars right now. Everybody's just got a little separation, but there is pretty much no window right now of clean air, so everybody's going to be fighting a little bit dirty air somewhere in this track right now.
That's kind of what Homestead really is all about. You're trying to find some clean air anywhere you can, but if there's cars ahead of you, behind you, you're always trying to watch a little ahead of you to try to find the clean air. You're watching behind you to make sure no one's getting a little advantage on you, so it's a lot to really pay attention to. And as the tires wear, it gets harder and harder for you to get any sort of overspeed, to get next to someone and then obviously pass them. So I'm not surprised now at this point to say, okay, these guys are saving an extra 2 or 3 laps on their stints to try and make their 2-stop over the 3-stop. But I would have thought that maybe like 2 or 3 guys might have tried a little bit of different strategy and say, okay, I'm going to pit a little early, have fresher tires, I can get by some guys and try to just flip the whole strategy on its head. But everybody tried to save the fuel, and everyone's kind of running the same stuff right now.
Yeah, you see Edson there. He is closed up to Treston, but right there got to him, then had to fall back a little bit. You see Treston running the top side. Edson's going to run more towards that seam there. And then right behind him, Stouffer right there as well, just kind of just looming behind these guys. So got a couple of the top 3 right now, or top 4, I guess I should say, in close proximity. So yeah, they're having a good little battle right now in that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th positions. But yeah, right now I said, and right now the biggest gap on track for clean air is what this 6 car has. He's got about half a straightaway to the next car, which I believe is going to be Joseph Morales. So Matt's loving life right now. Had a great pit stop. He's broken the draft as well from Treston, about 1.6 seconds now. So he's in a really, really good spot right here. So, and then obviously based on what we've seen, Andrew, it's the magic number now is going to be that kind of that 40-ish to go or so, because we know that's what they can do. And then the question mark is, like you said, then does it open up the strategy? Oh, look at these guys go 3 here off of 2. Treston able to get around the lap car, and Edson's going to try to take advantage here, entering 3. We'll see who's going to be able to win this battle out of 4.
So with 122 laps, you have to imagine that it's going to be a 41-41-40 situation. So I do notice that Matt has kind of pulled out a little bit of an advantage. Is this his 40-lap stint where he wants to try and make sure he's way ahead and doesn't have to worry about any deal from behind? And perhaps Edson or Treston are trying to save their fuel a little bit, so they do their 41 again and then a 40 at the end to push. So you can really kind of split this any way you want to. If you think that there's not going to be any cautions, you can try and make your middle stint the 40-lap stint, and then make your last stint the fuel save one, especially if you have such a gap that you feel like you won't be challenged from behind. It's very difficult to pass here in general, so I think I would rather go with that strategy if it were me. I'd rather do the 41 laps, then the 40, and then the 41 to finish the race, or even save a little bit more fuel early on in my last stint so I could push a little bit more towards the end just in case it got threatened. I think that might be something that Matt's thinking of.
Yeah, and what I'm watching right here is I'm watching Edson, I'm watching Treston. Can you swap draft at a 1.5-mile track like Homestead? Because I do see these guys swapping back and forth. I don't know if this is them just being racy with each other, or in my mind, I think this is them stealing the draft, getting that big run. And so there, Tristan just got a little high, maybe just kissed the wall a little bit. I think he got away with it. But I'm thinking these guys are trying to do here is just trying to do something with the swap draft. Say, hey, we got to find some way to catch Matt And so right now they're trying to go this approach right here because it does look fairly coordinated. Obviously, they're a little off sequence now just because of that little hiccup that we saw from the 12 car. But I'm wondering if that's what we're seeing out of these two. It's like, hey, let's try this and at least give it an honest try and see if that maybe does something for us.
I don't know if Homestead's really a swap draft kind of track just because of the two different sides of the track being so different and the dirty air being such a big effect. Usually I like to try and do it on a track where you can use any lane you really want, but as the run goes on, you're kind of stuck to the high side a little bit to try and get the car to turn. I think it just has to do with the surface of the track, so I'm not really sure if a swap draft is really a thing at Homestead. So if they're making it work, then it could prove me wrong later on, but I think they're going to find as the tires wear that it won't be effective at all.
Yeah, and it looks like the lap times were pretty consistent, so I don't think it made any major differences. I think what's going to be their best hope is that they're going to start, or Matt's going to start to catch some dirty air soon, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. And also good to see you over here, Cody. Yeah, glad to be back over here with these guys, and big congrats to you for sweeping the season opener on the Friday and Sunday series at Talladega. I say those guys are be in trouble if you keep that streak up over the course of the season. But yeah, glad to have you over here. Love having you supporting us here on the Indy side. But yeah, right now it's saying you got Nick Cohen just again kind of, I wouldn't call it a slide job, but kind of able to just get to the inside, clear up top there, and get now up into 12th position. We saw him fighting earlier with Nicholas Stockner. He's got him about a second back. So I say the 21's been pretty good, I feel like, on getting this long run pace down where he's been able to manage his equipment. And now he's got a couple right in front of him. Larry Yingling next in line there. And then you got Peterson not too far up ahead. Herrick, Durazo. So he's definitely got some extra spots that he can try to get a few more from in these next handful of laps. And pace-wise, last lap actually I think was the quickest car on track, 25.80. Leaders with 26.10. You saw right there, just use that outside line. Huge momentum there through 3 and 4. 21 looks like he's got a pretty good setup right now. That he's got the pretty dialed in here, especially looks like rim riding that thing.
Well, even look at Eric Schaus. We were mentioning he had his poor qualifying, and he's finding himself just outside the top 5 right now, which is just something that Eric Schaus knows how to do. He starts up front and he can be very competitive, or kind of chill out and do what he does and sit in 6th place, or he could start from the mid-pack and make up 13 spots and find himself in 6th place. So I think he kind of knows what the mission is, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is kind of him saying, okay, this is a good day right now. I qualified pretty bad, but let me see if I can make the best out of it. And this is just one of those things where some of these elite guys in this series always find their way up front. The cream always rises to the top.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And I can tell you, Matt Wagner, he has gone around the number 60 of Joseph Morales. So that put Joseph now, I believe, is... Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. He hasn't got to Joseph yet. That's the next one in line for Matt. He was able to get around Brandon Briggs in the 63. And I love having Brandon over there, too. So he's been doing a lot of broadcasting with us the past season with the Super Speedway side of things. And he reached out like, hey, I want to try out these Indy cars. And I was like, yeah, man, get in there. So fun to see. Same thing. Love seeing these guys kind of get out of their norm, their comfort zone. And kind of both ways, getting the Indy guys over on the Super Speedway side and vice versa. So a lot of fun kind of seeing that kind of mix between the drivers. So, but yeah, right now, Matt's started to catch a little bit of traffic. That lap time has definitely dropped into the 26:20s. Problem is, though, for Edson now, he's in that same exact traffic. You can see right there, just that big slide out of 2. He's starting to run that pretty much exact same lap time. So just really now it's just going to depend on how well they can get through, I feel like, through all of this here, Andrew, to see. And you can see right there, I think a little bit of love given there. Ooh, I see the 32.
Ooh, someone's there.
Yeah, I think
Coker.
That was, yeah, where is he at? There's Coker. Oh no, that's another loose out of 4. I'm going to say, let's go back. We'll take a look. And we'll watch the back, and that's not Coker. There he is. Oh, yep, there it goes. And same thing, just different turn, and stayed on the infield, so that's why caution doesn't count. Grabs the gear, gets going again, and I don't know how he held on to that thing the way that thing was squirreling around there. And so, this is where the concern we had was, though. Now he's going to drift up. Hopefully everybody's able to... there's a little bit of contact there.
No, there's contact there.
He's going to get to pit row, but who was it that hit him? That may have been the 86, I think. Let me go back. We'll take one more look and try to catch the car that got him. And again, that's just with the damage. He's just probably hustling a little too hard. Let's back it down a little bit here.
Campbell. Wayne Campbell, I believe.
Let's see.
No, it wasn't Campbell. It was the car ahead of Campbell. It was
the 86.
Yeah, Boris.
But I think, did he get away with it? Because the car looks okay. And he was up on the inside. It may have been one of those where the net code may be saving the 86 car. So I think he's going to get away with it. And the crazy thing is, I know John from the open wheel, or from the stock car side of things. So I think it was maybe even it was Atlanta, where a car net coded and disappeared and then just pretty much reappeared in his lap. And so he's probably thinking, oh man, not again. Just say one of those almost, if he wasn't for bad luck, wouldn't have any luck at all. So I think luckily, hopefully gets away with that one. As he got a great battle here between Stouffer and Forston. And again, I think this is kind of just showing like you talked about, the track position, the clean air. I mean, nobody could touch Tristan at the beginning. And now that he's lost that clean air through the pit stop cycle, he's just hasn't been able to get what he had earlier. So, but that being said, though, we're 48 to go here, Andrew. So that pit window, probably again, next 8 laps or so, we'll probably see the field start kind of ready to hop in here. As here's these two again, still Wayne Campbell, John Boris, still going back and forth with one another here, trying to hang on to that top 15 position. And then also, didn't mention Nick Cohen. He's now up 11 spots into the top 10 in 9th. So, like I said, he and Schaus clearly the highest climbers. Ryan Kelly in 33 up 7 spots into 11th. And then, once again, Tristan got back by Stouffer. So these two fighting 1 and 2 earlier, now fighting for 3rd and 4th. Keep having this battle from the start of this race.
I did want to mention one thing with the Matt Wagner traffic situation. So if we were thinking that Matt was trying to just get the most pace he can right now on this stint and then save later on, now that he's hit all this traffic, he's doing a lot of lifting and trying to predict the clean air of the cars ahead of him. So just that extra lifting on the entry of the corner to try and find the clean air is going to probably give him at least 1 lap of fuel saving. So I think even though he might have been worried if he could save the fuel for his second stint to do it in the third stint, I think he's doing enough to make it to lap 82. And because of the fact that he can't get through the traffic so early, he knows that if he can't get through the traffic so fast, then Edson also is going to have the problem once he gets by these guys. So it almost kind of naturally brings a fuel save situation into the leader, especially if he's trying to find a way to buy some cars. He's lifting a little earlier. He's doing all the stuff necessary in order to save that extra lap of fuel. So I think that it's going to be very easy for Matt to make it to lap 82 on this fuel save. And if he's able to do that, then it's a very easy fuel save to the end. But it's going to be up to guys like Santos, Fortin, or Stouffer to maybe jump in a little early and hope for a late race caution. If they can get in a few laps earlier and get that late race caution, then there's an opportunity for them to gain some of that time back.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, you talk about those guys. You got Edson right now. He's got about 0.7, but from Edson to Schaus, I mean, they're maybe about a second apart nose to tail. So this is a really tight battle here for those top spots right now. So, and yeah, like you said, I mean, Matt's going to be coming around to 42 to go. And you're exactly right. That traffic is definitely a very good opportunity for fuel savings. So right now, like you said, no takers yet. I do see the 44 Frank Irwin Jr. And like I said, that's not, I mean, it's a scheduled stop, but again, a little early. Unfortunately, wasn't up front at the time of the pit stop either. So we'll be keeping an eye on how that all goes, but just waiting to see kind of who's going to be the first of our front runners to blink. But yeah, right now, and actually there you go, it's going to be Tristan. But this is coming to 42 to go, 41 to go. I'm sorry, so should be right in the window.
So he's the opposite of Matt. He's, like I said, someone's going to jump in a little early to try and hope for some sort of caution in the middle of the stint in order to bring everybody back together. And if Tristan is able to do a really nice pit stop here, get some solid laps in the next 4 or 5 laps where he could challenge Matt on his pit exit, that'll put him in a good spot. But I think Matt's going to be pitting within the next 2 laps or so.
Oh, yeah,
anyway.
Matt's in now, actually. Edson's in there, too. So So this is now where these guys are nervous because also you got Herrick and Kelly also in, and this is coming to 40 to go. So now this is where if you're these guys that can go further, you can make these leaders sweat a little bit. But here comes Stover, here comes Forsyth, you got Schaus all coming in together. But
Wagner blew his box.
Oh no, that's gonna have to back it up. Oh yeah, he's still not in.
I think he's okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
I've never seen him serve.
Yeah, I think he backed up a smidge. It looked like he was trying to stop, and all of a sudden, I think it might have been like an inch off where he hit reverse, and it just did the service. So let's see what happens.
That's wild though, because I've never seen an entry in an angle like that being serviced. So that was pretty close there. You see the 21, he's gonna hit pit road. He was staying out. Like I said, these guys that are able to save fuel though, this is where the leaders are gonna have to get nervous here. Larry Yingling's also coming in as well. And so that's going to switch it over to John Boris. John's also in, which will then leave, I think, just Nicholas Stockner. Nicholas is staying out here, as well as Joseph Morales and Bill Burrell. So again, right now there are going to be a handful of drivers trapped to lap down. So this is where these guys that did pit are just saying, please mind your P's and Q's. We don't want to get trapped to slap down right now. And so far, like I said, these guys still running all right, waiting to see, does Nicholas come in? Yes, here he comes for his scheduled final stop. Morales is going to come out of 2. We'll see if he reacts as well. And yeah, here he comes as well. So that's pretty much going to cycle it around. And then I think this is actually the 11 car right now. Bill Burrell, I think he's the last that has not pitted. So he's going to be the final one to come in. But Wagner able to hold a pretty gap here still. But it looks like the cycle out of it, though, Stouffer's going to be the best of the rest that was able to jump out in front of the other guys.
That was insane. That I saw Wagner just skid right by his box, but somehow the service completed. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if he had to back up maybe an inch. Like he panic reverse all the way there, but somehow he got away with that. He was very crooked in his box, like you saw on the camera there.
I've never seen him service a car like that crooked.
Yeah, it looked like
cars.
It almost looked like he ran out of fuel. He might have added a tow or something like that. But nope, he got it done, and he did the 41 laps successfully there. So it's going to be an easy 40-lap run to the end here. And if he was able to do 41 laps before, he could easily do 40 right now. Yeah,
and what I've been watching is the one who's definitely burning some stuff up right now is Stover. Last 2 laps, he ran the fastest lap of the race, 2 purple laps in a row. This time around, not a purple lap, but again, 2.5 tenths quicker than Matt. So that, 2-3 second lead he had. Ooh, saw one.
We have a car going the inside.
I think it was Charles Johnson. Yeah, it was. Wow, I don't know how he hung on to that thing. So he's going to try to get those tires back in check.
I don't think there's any contact at all there.
I think he just had
a big like a
slide.
Quick rush.
Wow, that was
an Andrew
huge.
Wood type slide right there, actually. not to pat myself on my own back, but I would do something like that for sure.
But yeah, so I mean, we've got the top 5 are all within draft distance of each other. Stouffer right now, you can see he is working around. I believe that is Bill Cawley, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, he's going to jump around the 31 car here, and then he's got his sights set on Matt. Matt's got clean air right now. So if you're Stouffer, this is where, okay, what lane is Matt taking? All right, he's down on the inside. I'm going to be running about a groove up here just to keep that clean air on the nose, steal the draft down the straightaways, and see what he can do. So yeah, Matt doesn't have that margin that he had earlier, and it's like you said, Andrew, I think that little miscue probably cost him, I would say, at least probably a second, just having to back it up a little bit and probably being too far forward or back. The crew, like you'll see when you're driving, if you pit really far forward, you'll see the crew all kind of move forward to get to your tires, and so all of those things slow that pit stop down. So that's what's helped Stouffer along with a really good entry for himself to be right back into the mix here.
I'm trying to check out what Tristan Fortson's situation was, because he's lost another few spots, which now puts Eric Schaus into the top 5 and our highest climber of the race. But yeah, his in-lap is 50.7 seconds, which is just slightly slower than his first stop where he lost the lead. So I think Tristan might have been a little too conservative on his pit entry, which is, I went back and checked on the pit entry compared to him and Matt Wagner last time, and that's lost him another few spots. So Tristan went from the pole position where he could really control the race and really figure out how he gets the most speed with the clean air to now sitting outside the top 5. So very unfortunate for him, especially at a track where you feel like you have command and things kind of go backwards for you. But Treston is a new driver to this league, and it's going to be a learning experience for him for sure. So hopefully he can pick up a couple spots and get those spots back to finish the race in a very reputable top 5 or something like that, which is probably what he was expecting. But yeah, if the pit entry wasn't that great, then that's something to work on for the next race.
Yeah, exactly right. So, and that's the thing, is these guys set the bar really high. So what we should do though now is we haven't had a chance to run through the fields here yet, Andrew. So we got to show off all the great drivers' paint schemes. So we're going to kick it off with Matt Wagner there in the
Show me the new
car.
paint schemes.
Yeah, so we always love seeing the new paint scheme. Plus we got to learn who's in what and where and all that. So
yes,
now
I'm
Matt
ready. Teach me.
That
I know, but ready.
Start making notes of the colors and everything. So you got Matt Wagner there. You got Christopher in second place. Craig Forsyth worked his way up into third. And then you got Edson Santos there in fourth position. Eric Schaus, you mentioned, 14 spots up into fifth in that 72. Our pole sitter there, Tristan Forston, in the sixth position. Then you got Daniel Durazo there in seventh in that number 2 Corona machine. Eric Peterson in eighth in that number 36. Ryan Kelly up 9 spots into ninth in the number 33. And then right now in the top 10, up 10 spots, is Nick Cohan in that 21 machine. Then we go to Gary Laverne there in 11th, right where he started. Larry Yingling down 2 into 12th. Wayne Campbell, haven't really talked a lot about Wayne tonight, but still also solid run, up 8 spots into 13th. Also 8 spots up is Chris Jabot here. It shows 52. He's going to be officially the 87. Didn't get the car number set right. That's on me. And behind him, teammate John Borst there in the numbers 86. And as I say, that caution is out. And I think it might be, it's the 124 Nicholas Stockner. And so I don't know if we're going to call that commentator's curse, but running through the field, caution is out. Let's take
a self spinner.
And I mean, it was a matter of time, I feel like. And yeah, here he goes. So you see it step out on 2. And this time it was just enough to bring the yellow out, because what you're going to see is it's going to ricochet back far enough onto the track where iRacing is going to deem that's too close, and that's going to bring the yellow out. So now it's strategy time here, Andrew. These guys pitted about 20-ish laps ago, if that. So
yeah, it's 81 or so. So it was about 14 laps ago, but I imagine everybody's coming in because the tire wear on this track is going to be enough.
Oh, we got a mixed bag here. Matt's staying out, but he's a lonely one right now. So we'll see who's going to respond and maybe also jump for some track position. But right now it's just Matt.
Yeah, you're always going to want to do the opposite of what the leader does. So the leader comes in. You may want to come in also because you know there's about 25 laps left of this race. I think the tire wear is so severe that track position might mean something initially, but eventually there's going to be a little bit of craziness, especially since we've run 97 laps right now of green. There's going to be plenty of people saying, I am sick and tired of following this guy. I am going to do something on the restart. So I imagine we're going to see quite a lot of different stuff happening on the restart. And again, we have the new rules in Area 51 where the caution, the restart is going to be when the pace car comes in. That's all. That was just on the start of the race, but it's going to be definitely something that these drivers are going to play around with and play different games to try and fake out their opponents and everything. I think Matt can hang on for a while, but if he's out there on some older tires, it may hurt him later in the race. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, this is a tough one for Matt. Like I said, it's going to be track position versus clean air at this point. Or sorry, tires versus clean air at this point. Do need to mention, unfortunately, Jim Herrick did have, I think he's probably got the only pit penalty so far. He had a 52-second pit stop due to the hold. And the other thing is with Matt staying out is that trapped a bunch of cars that were maybe trying to get their laps back. And so that's going to give him some breathing room, though. So you see where the 6th car is because we're not within 10 to go. So Matt's our leader. Where's Christopher? He is about 5 cars back here, Andrew. So it's not going to be a walk in the park for him. He's going to have to get around all these lap cars in front of him, which it looks like, there's 4 in between he and the leader. So, I mean, I'm sure they're going to give him plenty of room and everything like that, but it's still stuff he's going to have to work his way through. And then these guys are going to be fighting within themselves to try to get back in the lead lap because Charles Johnson got the last one. So now it's going to be Brandon Briggs is going to be in that boat. Derek Catt, Bill Burrell it's Bill Burrell's behind him. But then Jim Herrick, again, he's trying to get maybe one of his two back if he could get around the 6 car. So there's a lot of people fighting for different things. I mean, obviously, Herrick knows that, hey, I want to get some spots back in this opener because I could use those points going down the line. So we'll see. Again, that 6 car, he's got control. And like we mentioned at the beginning of the thing here, the restart rules is basically once the pace car's off, just got to go before the official green comes out. Try to keep the field spread out a little bit. And you can see, actually, looks like lap cars are all just going to roll right on over here for the leaders.
They all just roll over from. That's very interesting. It definitely helps
That's
Matt
an interesting start here.
For the fact that he has all these guys that are just kind of pulling over him.
They're almost too nice, though, because Matt's already got a 1.6 second lead from everybody, just not really throttling up. So, but now this is, again, now it's intensity is going to be picking up. Everybody's going to try to get all they can here. And they got the cold tires. They're going to be full of fuel. As they say that, look how close Schaus and Santos were there. Where this is where these guys are going to start to push a little harder, get a little greedier. The field's less spread out than it was. So this is where, unfortunately, I get a little bit nervous as a commentator where the caution or contact could come and see Edson getting back around the number 72 car. Treston's going to go by too. So Eric lost a lot of momentum there out of 2, and these guys able to capitalize on it.
I'm trying to figure out. It looks like Edson and Schaus had a very, very. Schaus and Santos had a very. They did have contact actually out of turn 2 there. Lost Schaus a little bit of time, but Santos takes advantage there. But yeah, this mid-pack is very, very close. They're running side by side through the hole. Oh, they're getting very close out of turn 4 there, the 3 wide.
Yeah, so this is where things get nervous. And so you got Ryan Kelly there, Gary Laverne, Eric Peterson. I saw these guys, Wayne Campbell's right there as well. So yeah, so this is where things get a little bit more dicey than maybe some of these guys want to have. Matt's still enjoying life right now. He's still up ahead of that number 13 of Christopher. And you can see right now, though, it looks like there is no more traffic in between them. Here's Craig Forsyth as well. He's starting to work his way up there as well, getting around Jim Herrick. So yeah, now it's just we'll see what the tire differences can do because Matt's also got a little bit of dirty air there in front of him. That's the 124 there of Nicholas Stockner, again, having to serve, or not serve a penalty, but get the damage and everything repaired to get back out on track. So yeah, so that's what we're seeing out of him right now. But I mean, right now, I mean, this is the gaggle. I mean, look at all these guys here. Just like you said, any little bobble, and you're gonna lose just all the positions. So this is a tough spot to be in because I mean, the mid pack to me is always kind of the toughest racing because you've got dirty air everywhere, and everybody wants to get these spots.
Well, the thing is that some of the guys that started in between Wagner and Edson. They're trying to get out of the way, but now they've reached the mid-pack, and now they've put themselves in a spot where they're trying to get out of the way, but everybody's racing so hard behind them that it's very difficult to find a spot to go. I've heard quite a bit of shouting on the radio among some drivers.
So that's Stockner coming into the pits. Where's Herrick in this? That's interesting. They went down the apron. I don't know. That's maybe just them getting completely out of the way. I thought they had an issue. So I think that was just strategy that said, like you mentioned, trying to get out of the way. They went kind of let's really get out of the way. They just went through the pit entry there and then rolled back out. So, but yeah, right now Matt still holds about.
Did we see what happened with Stouffer? Stouffer is seemingly out right now.
Oh, did he have a connection issue possibly? Let me see. Or did he have an issue somewhere?
I'm seeing him disappear, so I think he's had a connection issue, unfortunately.
So I'm gonna bump it back here and see if he's on the track. No, he's still on track at that point. So yeah, so I think Stouffer, may have had a disconnect, which is unfortunate because he was one that was right up there in the mix for it. So right now though, you can see, and actually while we've done, Stouffer is up in the front. So yeah, so probably lost connection. It just clicked in my head. It's like, no, he was second place. But what we do have now is you can see Craig slowly catching Matt, but the problem is he's got a mirror full of Edson, And then Treston is giving Eric Schaus a run for his money there in that top 5 battle. So, like I said, it's right now it's track position for his clean air, and Matt right now again he's the only one that opted for that track position clean air versus the tires. And so far, again, I mean he's gone about halfway through this restart, still able to hold on to it. So we'll see if Craig can get to him, what he can do.
I know Schaus is running with a lot of red mist right now after that contact with Santos, Edson Santos on that restart. So Santos is he better start to worry if Schaus gets a run on him, because I believe Schaus got a little bit turned around there, and looks like Fortune's got a run on him right now. But yeah, I believe if Schaus gets up to Edson, it's going to be a little bit more fireworks, but we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah, and you can see right now, you can see right there, Craig's going to get the dirty air from the 6 car. That's going to allow Edson, I think, to complete the pass up top. Yes, it will.
Oh, there's contact there with Schaus and Treston on the exit of turn 4. More contact for Schaus to get him a little more fired up.
So we'll jump back. We'll take another look at that one here between the two of them. So this is going into 3. Eric's on the inside. And yeah, there's a drifts up and... Oh, big bobble there. I don't know how Treston hung on to that thing. And say, as we're looking at that, though, unfortunate caution is out. And I think it is Treston, unfortunately. Oh, everybody's trying to get around him. He's done a great job of just staying on the brakes there and not rolling before. So you mentioned, is that possibly some more contact between he and Schaus? We'll go back and we'll take another look here. So this is kind of same situation second time around here. And I think you can already kind of see where this is going. And yeah, it just drifts up a little too much there. Just that dirty air gets into the back of Treston. And we'll see if Eric's going to get anything from that. But then for Treston, though, this is where, I mean, this is terrifying, because you're just sitting here. And like I said, top job by him here, because he just locks it down. You'll see this car does not move an inch while you have the rest of the field just blowing by there. A couple cars super close.
Quite a few cars that really had to take a
And so he just completely waited till he knew it was absolutely clear, and then said, okay, now I can get going again. So that's a tough one for him, because again, get the pole, leading tons of laps in the top 5 when this all happens, only for that to come about late. That's a tough one to have. But it's just, yeah, I mean, that's one of those ones where, again, you're new to a league, and there's going to be, like I said, there's going to be some heat of the moment stuff. And like you mentioned, probably Eric felt like he was wronged a couple of times. And again, this is speculation. Obviously, we don't know for sure what's, and it may have just been Eric may have just got arrow tied and just drifted up more than he meant to. I mean, that's also things that do happen, unfortunately. Didn't mention you saw there Brandon Briggs. He got the wave around. He's going to jump onto pit road to get service done to his car. So again, great break for him as well to be able to stay that one lap down. The first car one down to get his lap. So he'll be able to be with the leaders. And now, though, Andrew, with it being within 10 to go, now these restarts are single file. So it doesn't matter because he's already got all the guys right behind him anyway. But now this is going to be another late race restart here. And the tire difference, I don't know. I think at this point, just no mistakes by Matt. I think he can probably hang on to this. I think the strategy call could have been the right one.
At this point, it's track position. That's kind of what Homestead's all about, really. But I was expecting Matt to be under a little bit more threat, but I think the guys behind him were actually just battling a lot closer than we probably would have expected. So
I think they're fighting amongst themselves so much that it kind of let him kind of just do his own thing.
And with just a few laps left, I think if Matt just keeps doing this thing, if he doesn't win this race, it'll be 1-2 people that pass him kind of thing. And if he's on the strategy, you made your bed. You got to stick to it now.
Oh yeah, so. there was no pitting there. And the one thing I did see him do at one point was again, you got to watch where the traffic is, and so you saw him kind of run down a little lower to give. I think at that point it was maybe Craig the dirty air. He's gonna have to work his mirrors, where he's gonna need to give the car that's in P2 the dirty air, keep them fighting each other to let him try to sneak away from this. So. You can see, though, he's going to have to watch out already, though, because look at the gap that is between himself and Edson. So he can't let Edson build up too much here. He might even need to back it down a tiny bit, because the last thing he wants to do is Edson get a big jump on him. So he's going to have to make sure he doesn't go too early or late. Basically wants to make sure Edson doesn't have a chance to get a jump on him, as we are down and away. Looking in the back, this is the concern I was going to have, though. And, yep, that's exactly what I was afraid of. And we've got a number of cars up and over. And that's frustrating. Larry Yingling involved there. Charles Teed was involved. There was another car in there as well. And I think was it this guy? Yeah, you can see the
Teed
missing
and
stuff.
Jabot,
John Borst. Yeah, so unfortunately, a number of cars involved in this one. And yeah, that was the fear as it was coming up. That was what I was afraid of was going to happen, because it did seem like it was a late restart there. And yeah, it's just, I think Matt's watching the gap that he's got behind him. And so I think that's where it kind of came up. So what's going to happen is you're just going to have that inevitable accordion, which actually you can see it's already a fair bit up ahead of Teed here. So let's go further
trying
forward.
To see,
Right there. You can
might be
Peterson.
Terrazzo was the first car that hit the brakes, is what I think.
Yeah, I mean, look how tight these first ones are. You got Terrazzo, you got Peterson right up on them. And then I'm looking, and yeah, right there starts to be the checkups. You see one running up against the wall, try to avoid the contact, and yeah, as they just, one gets into the one, and then that gets the other, and then teed up and over there behind, and that catches Larry, that catches Ryan Kelly as well, and yeah, that's a tough one there. It's the first race of the season. It's a late race restart, and like I said, if I'm mad, I'm watching my mirrors. I see the gap between me and Edson, and I'm just thinking, man, he's going to try to jump me on this restart and time it on me. So that's a tough spot to be in. So we'll see. I'll say we still got, looks like one more restart will be going to be happening here, kind of an unofficial green, white, checkered, if you will. And yeah, we'll see what these guys are able to do from here. But I'm pretty sure you're going to see some pretty mixed emotions from our top three here tonight after this one.
It'll be a very, very short end to this race. So I think at this point the track position is what you need, really. And at this point, Schaus is the big winner here. He's the guy that's made up the most spots this race, and it's a good start to his season after a poor qualifying effort.
Yeah, no, definitely have some big high climbers, and yeah, so no, at this point we'll have to kind of see what the strategy is going to be. Should get the one to go here, which will basically put us at the unofficial green, white, checkered here, which is going to pretty much be where these drivers will get the green flag. If they can get to the white flag in time, at that point they will race it out. However, if another caution is to occur on the restart or before the white, at that point field will be frozen. That will be the finishing order. So that's what these guys are going to have to be keeping an eye on here tonight, is to basically just not have what happened last time. So if I'm mad, I'm watching the gap to Edson behind me. Like right now you can see there's probably 2-3 car gap here. I think what you have to do here is you got to back it down to get to him, because again, like, you have to have a reasonable gap. And I'm sure Craig behind the scenes is also saying, hey, there was too big of a gap between us. Like, we can't, like, we're not doing that over here. Like, again, in league situations, very different than either official races or actual racing. But that gap is a couple car lengths, and now it's starting to close back up. So Matt's going to have to try to do something different, just try to keep them guessing here.
I'm just hoping that everyone can get themselves a little spaced out and figure out when the car ahead of them goes, and let's have a nice finish here. Let's have a nice green flag finish. I know it's green, white, checkered TV, so let's get an actual green, white, checkered situation going on. It can make the YouTube channel name last for a little longer.
All right, back underway here. Looks like a much cleaner start, watching towards mid-pack. And looks like everybody is able to get through the gears clean, which is great news for some others that were involved. Not so thrilled about it, because they're like, well, I just lost all my track position. But here we go, though. Like I said, they got to get through this next half lap, get to the white flag, and at that point it will be an official race. And then who gets to that flag first? You saw Matt there. He's trying to run completely offline here. but Edson's going to get a big head of steam here down the back as we get the one to go here. What can these guys do through 1 and 2 here on this final lap?
Looks like Eric Peterson might have, I think he had a little damage from that restart, but it didn't seem to be too bad. Looks like Jeff Hysong is coming for Gary Lover, and there's contact. They are it's big into 3 and 4, but it looks like Matt's got this all figured out, but really close there between Hysong and Lover.
Oh, at the line, I think Edson may have just been able to sneak around him there at the end there. And I think Edson's going to grab this one at the very, very end. And yeah, like I said, looks like there was some contact there on the back. And yeah, Matt's not going to be happy interviewee after this one. But it's going to be Edson getting the win after this one tonight. Matt Wagner going to grab second, Craig Forsyth third, and then Schaus and Durazo going to be the top fives. And then, yeah, we'll go back here, like I said, because there was more going on a little further back along the field here. You had mentioned with Gary Laverne here, so let's go check out this battle there with these guys. Yeah, let's go hunt down these guys. There they are. And so here's that battle we were talking about. Got Hysong there. Gary Laverne is in that mix as well. Oh, yep. Oh, yep. Big. I don't know how Gary hung on to that car there. And still, you saw there also had to react to not have any additional contact, but really good there. And you saw, not sure I'm going to Durazo there, but he caught the wall there off of, down the front stretch there. May have just been a frustration thing.
It was pretty pretty interesting situation there for sure.
But yeah, man. Unfortunate, kind of a wild way to finish it. Really, really good, like with the opening stints, everything like that. Really, really good hard racing with that. But before we get to any interviews here, though, Andrew, let's go ahead and pull up those final results. As it will be Edson there getting the win by 14 thousandths over Matt Wagner. Craig Forsyth at podium spot there third. Like you mentioned, Eric Schau's big spots gained up into fourth. Daniel Durazo grabs a top 5. You got Peterson, Wayne Campbell, Nick Cohan, Devin Brock, Jeff Hysong top 10s. And then Charles Johnson getting 11th. Gary Laverne still able to hold on to 12th. Tristan Forson, I mean, that's a huge recovery for me to get all the way back up into 13th after what happened to him late. And then Brandon Briggs jumping up into 14th. Larry Yingling, John Borst, Ryan Kelly, all those guys involved in that second to last restart incident. Chris Jabot as well. They finished in 15th, 16th, 17th, and 18th respectively. Then continuing on down, you got Derek Catt, the last car on the lead lap. And then, unfortunately, a couple guys laps down. Joseph Morales, Bill Burrell, Frank Irwin Jr. Then you got Everett Lane there, Jim Herrick, not the opening he was hoping for. Bill Colley, Charles Teed, Nicholas Stockner, Robert Smith. And then the early retirements we saw, unfortunately, the internet connection for Christopher, that's a heartbreaker for him. And then that early retirement as well for Shane Coker in that number 32 machine. All right, Andrew. So what we get to do, though, is we get to lead off interviews with our series league admin. So he's going to be able to give us a couple things of insight here, I feel like, tonight. So could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I'm not sure which it's going to wind up being because he's going to be put on a lot of hats, I feel like, here tonight. So going to grab Craig, starts 5th, finishes in 3rd. I'm thinking you're probably all smiles until that second to last restart, because I know that was a big thing we've been working on the offseason, trying to avoid that exact situation. But we'll let the admin hat go away for a little bit. Let's go to the driver's helmet here, Craig. I mean, take us through the race and the strategies. Obviously turned into a pretty clear-cut two-stopper. I mean, did you have to do any saving, or just did it kind of naturally play out where just the pace of the race turned it into a two-stopper?
Well, at the front, we were actually using more fuel than we thought we'd be. So during the second stint there, we were both Chris and I were dialing it back, trying to save a bit more fuel to try and make absolutely sure we could just map one in the third stint. And even then, we were pretty sure that we were going to have to save a bit. It was surprising how much more fuel we were using up in the clean air at the front, the clean air area up at the front. And then I think Matt went in one lap earlier, so we were suddenly realizing that like we could punish him and make him really have to use fuel. So that was the point where we were just sort of sitting there and prepping, making sure that with like 25-ish to go, we were going to be fully good to go. And unfortunately, that's exactly when that caution came out, which threw that right out the window. Yeah, we got really lucky. Matt didn't go in, so we went in for tires. We figured we'd be able to run him down, and we were towards the end there. But then we had the next caution, and Chris got caught on the restart with the lapped cars there, and then the final caution came out just as I think I think Edson was gonna give Matt a good run for his money. I don't know if I had any tires left at that point, but yeah. So, and then in the end, it worked out anyway because Edson was able to clip him right at the line there and on the last run. So good on Edson.
Did you find that the car changed at all between the evening and then the night kind of runs? Was there a lot of different opportunities for you to run different lines when the track cooled off a little bit, or was it very much just search for clean air the entire race, no matter what happens?
The clean air was always important, but yeah, no, it just seemed to get fast. That's where I say the further through the runs we were going, the more fuel we were using. Just because I think the cars were handling better and running faster in that with the clean air and everything. So no, the car was handling great towards in the final stints there. I mean, we were all the first stint was the heat stint, and I think everyone in the entire field was struggling with keeping the car under them and keeping the car still being fast. We were all very slow in the last 10 or so laps of that first stint, that's for sure, because it was still warm out.
Yeah, no, and yeah, that was what we were kind of watching, was the strategy, and then yeah, the tire wear and everything like that. But I mean, the season, like I said, now we'll do some of the admin. I'll say season opener, 30 cars. Like I said, the first yellow, just kind of a spin off of two, which we saw a couple of throughout the night, where they didn't kind of ricochet up enough to trigger the yellows. But I mean,
it was making us question whether the yellows were on.
Yeah, but I mean, I say overall, I mean, for 3 cautions, 122 lap race, for 30 cars, a lot of new names and faces kind of meshing together. I mean, I feel like it's still a really solid kind of just season opener for you, kind of for the behind the scenes side of things, for all the kind of time and effort you guys have put on.
Yeah, heck yes, we couldn't have asked for a better race from everyone. I mean, it was overall an extremely clean race. We didn't have 14 cautions. And really all the cautions were just at the end there. I mean, overall, this was 30 drivers, as you said, half of them new or returning drivers who were like trying to get used to the car or used to interacting with the other drivers. And I think it went excellent. I hope everyone had a great time. I mean, we had a good time running tonight, so I hope everyone else enjoyed it as well.
Well, before we let you do your post-race debriefs, definitely, as always, Craig, got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts for that podium this evening, sir?
Yeah, got to thank Jim over at 4D Racewear for sponsoring the car at the team. Yeah, unfortunately, Chris didn't have the result he wanted tonight, and Jim got had a fuel snafu and didn't notice he was out of fuel, so that put him 2 laps down. So at least we were able to sneak away with some points here tonight and get the 40 car up at the front. And I mean, everyone started the new season, 30 drivers. We all came out. It was a great field tonight, great race tonight. I'm happy to everyone who's joined. Everyone is watching. I mean, both of you guys at Green White Checkers doing the broadcast for us. Glad to be back. Hope this is going to be a good and enjoyable season to the end.
Great job tonight, Craig. Looking forward to seeing more of you throughout the rest of this one, sir.
Thank you. Both of you guys stay safe.
Thanks.
All right, here, Andrew. These are the tricky ones to do because it was close, and you never want to be on the opposite end of that one. And I mean, we talked about it. Matt had the great first pit stop, gets out in the front, has kind of things in control, comes out of the second pit stop, still in front, not by as much. Obviously, Craig mentioned he feels like fuel is maybe a potential fuel saving for Matt. Then the caution comes out. And so we'll start there, Matt, because you come in, you lose all the people behind you on pit road, but then you gain a bunch of lap cars between you and those guys that pitted.
Hmm.
But they all kind of just give the red carpet to the lead lap cars. I mean, what's the at that point? What's the range of emotions of okay,
Oh,
crap, everybody pitted. Wait a second, I've got like 5 lap cars between me and second place, and then it's like, oh wait, now they're all rolling over for him. I mean, that's a lot going on in a very short amount of time there.
so the train of thought was I had 8 lap cars, if I counted them correctly, that were between me and second place. That was a lot, and hopefully they would pit. Hopefully they would actually help it. I was kind of hoping somebody would stay out, but no, they weren't going for that. So whatever the leader does, they're going to do exactly the opposite. So I've been there before. I actually won races by staying out here at Homestead. So that was my other mindset. I remember beating Bennett and you, Andrew Wood, one night over at here at Homestead because clean air here is everything. But sometimes when the build comes, I guess a new build, if car feels a lot different here than the years past. Uh, there's a lot more grip out there than people think. There's a lot of people who were a little bit over aggressive on the weight jacker button, but you really can't drive the car like that. You got to be patient with the throttle. If you don't, you're going to cook your tires and you're going to fall straight to the back. I just watched earlier that who that happened to Stouffer. He fell back like a rock and dressed in the same way after he pitted. So it was a story, man. The fresh tires got me in the end. It is what it is. And I have to live with it.
Was there any indication at all that the tires were starting to go off in those last few laps there, that you may have had a challenge from Edson there at the end, or did you feel like the car was very comfortable and you could pull off that win?
I was kind of hoping it would stay green, actually. I was kind of hoping those two would fight each other, uh, Craig and Edson, because I was looking at my mirror and they were fighting. I said, that's good for me. I hope they keep fighting. I hope it stays green. No, caution come out, and then my tires were like, well, it was probably kind of good. If it cools down, I get a little more grippier. It did for the first couple laps, and after like lap 3 or 4, you can feel the wear and tear on it, and there's like no grip coming off the corner and going to center 3 and 4. And that's where I pretty much where I lost, how I lost the race. No no drive off the center, so it is what it is.
Yeah, say in that situation, I mean, is there a preferred lane in these situations? Like, obviously, the inside's a short distance, but then also you talk about the momentum on the outside lanes. I mean, was that kind of the plans? Like, all right, if he's gonna go, he's gonna have to go on the top side, or I mean, how are you managing that part of it on that final restart?
So if I was to take the top lane, I'll be a sitting duck because those fresher tires are everything. You have more grip on the bottom than I will have on the top. Um, but I gotta do what I gotta do. If I would have tried the top, I guess the gap would probably lose by about half a second uh, to Edson if he would have taken the bottom. If I would have gave him the bottom, um, yeah. But I seen the I wouldn't have changed anything that I did. Nothing at all. I still would have stuck to the bottom and try and use much weight checker as I can and just a little bit negative off the corners just so I don't slide the tires if I have too much jacker into the car.
Well, I mean, it was again. I mean, I know not the result you're wanting, but I mean, you a hell of a drive. Like I said, that first pit stop. I mean, you got in and out, you nailed it, got a nice gap, and were able to manage that for a ways too. So, as I know, like I said, I know it's not a fun one, but at the same time, definitely not one to
No,
hang your hat
no.
on. It's a
Hey,
long
hey,
season.
hey. We're going for a championship here. That's good points day. I
Well, that's
have
what I was
just one
telling
thing.
Andrew. Say you're full driver mode now. You don't have to worry about the other stuff.
I ain't got to worry about admin stuff. I ain't got to worry about setups. I ain't got to worry about nothing. I'm just totally focused on winning this championship. I have never won a championship in Area 51. I've came close a few times, and to Craig, out of all people, uh, I'm fully focused. See if we can do this. Great points day.
Nah, really good result tonight, Matt. So great job, sir. So I look forward to seeing more of you over the course of the season. Like I said, get some more of those podiums, probably top step sooner than later. But yeah, great job tonight, man. Before we let you go, though, of course, as always, got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shots for that runner up tonight?
Yeah, I like to thank the guys over at Sector 5, Brian Bennett, Lionel Callisto. Love you guys over there. You guys 4D. You guys are going to be a great partner for upcoming leagues. You guys at broadcast, Andrew Wood, I love listening to you. And Gael, as usual, you guys are really great. Other than that, y'all have a great night.
Thanks, Matt.
Good job,
Thanks.
Matt. All right, that leaves us one fella left to chat with, and that is going to be this driver right here in that number 20. So we're going to grab Edson Santos and bring him in because, Andrew, I mean, we talked about it. Would the tires make the difference? And we also talked about the long run pace that Edson had on the older tires, just seemed to be able to manage them. But Edson, it came down to a last lap restart to make a big move, get the run. Did you want the top? Did you want the bottom, or was it just wherever Matt goes, you're going the opposite?
So hello guys, good night. First of all, it was a great race. I hope it was good for to watch it because you have long stints and we all like that, right? Racing with tire wear. It was concerned about fuel in order not make an extra pit stop. Yeah, that's what's amazing. Yeah, I was. Actually, I was not confident I could overtake Matt because even with yellow flags, as this last one with 3-4 laps to go, so I knew he didn't change the tires in the first yellow, and but I didn't even think that in 2 laps I could overtake because. On the yellow, even with my with all tires, there is time to refresh the tires. But I think the line of turns 3 and 4 that I took, leaving the minimum space for Matt and taking advantage of the new tires in a nice stretch with more grip in line 2. So it gave me this victory this time.
Did you think that your qualifying run being up towards the front at the start of the race gave you an advantage? Because it seems like whenever you start towards the front, you have a really good run and you kind of maintain your position up there. And you have to make sure your pit stops are nice and everything. And it seems like everything was done well from being up front. So did you feel like you had an opportunity to win the race just being where you were? Or did you feel like that you may have had to settle for a second or third place finish tonight?
Yeah, I really thought the quali could be pretty important. I didn't make a lot of laps training with this new tire model in the IR18. I was not confident about what could happen, and naturally I was in P2. I was comfortable. I was concerned. I had this concern about to save a little bit of fuel to make just 2 pit stops under green if the race could be under green entirely. Yeah, but in some moments I simply warm. My tires were terrible. I stayed 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds behind the leader, and my pit stops were not good. Matt made incredible pit stops and could return in front of me. And yeah, in the beginning I was thinking that the quali could be interesting, but in the end, before the yellows, I was thinking P3 or P4 could be a good finish for me because I was not I was not believing that could be any yellow. My tires in the end were just terrible.
I saw you had a little contact there with Eric Schaus there on one of the
Yeah,
restarts. Did you find that the car was hindered or damaged at all in any way, or was just like a slight little bump there that didn't really hurt your car too much?
yeah, good you mentioned. I want to apologize Eric Charles because I could see in the replay there's this situation around lap 100 for maybe. No, it's my fault. I had a strong understeering in front of me. I touched his car, and I know he lost a few things there. It was my bad. My car was not repair or not damaged at all, and I hope his car also.
Yeah, it was really good fighting. Like I said, with all of you guys, some tight racing. I mean, it's towards the end of the race. You got to get everything you can. So it was a really fun race watching you guys. Like I said, a lot of green flag racing, green flag pit stops, and then just really hard racing at the end as well to try to get that win. So big congrats, Edson, on the win, and definitely want to give you the opportunity here for any thanks and shout outs for your win tonight.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the league for the organization. Very well organized. I like to run here. To thank all of the drivers. The race was pretty clean. And so to send a hi for all my teammates in Brazil from Linear Energy Racing, especially my friend Vitor Guilherme, who was watching the race and sent me a message after the race. So I hope to be here and the last race.
I say, yeah, we definitely hope to see you throughout it. Obviously, a great way to start the season too, Edson. So, congrats on the win. Go enjoy this one, and look forward to seeing you on track again here soon.
Yeah, thank you guys. See you soon. Bye.
All right, Andrew, that is our race winner there in the number 20 of Edson Santos. And yeah, I mean, down there at the end, that late race restart, obviously had to put himself in position in the first place. And like I said, I mean, he had some battles. He had a really tight fight with Eric there for a little while. Unfortunately, we saw the little bit of contact, but yeah, I say he was able to work it. Craig mentioned too that he didn't think he had anything for Matt. He felt like Edson could, but so it just kind of shows again the outright pace that Edson had tonight, and was able to make that right move at the right time on Matt and get the win for the opener tonight.
I would say that it's a very successful first race of the season. We didn't see a lot of incidents, a couple of incidents there at the end, but that's to be expected for the first race of the season. So, yeah, unfortunate for Schaus there that he wasn't able to climb up all the way to the podium, which it seemed like he was going to do. But it's still a great finish for the first race of the season. And like Matt said, if you're going for a championship, you want to finish the first race and you want to finish in such a way that you get enough points that keeps you in contention. So I think Matt's only getting started from here. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he got max bonus points as well, or maybe second to max bonus points, leading the most laps. I think just the only one he didn't get was pole position. But yeah, I mean, like you said, a really good way to start things off. So yeah, I mean, and again, it's a long season. There's 14 races. I think they're going to get 2 drop weeks. So yeah, a great way to start it off. And honestly, I was expecting more of a downbeat Matt on that result because of course you want to win. But so I thought that was actually a really good thing to see too, where he's already big picture race one. So I think it just shows that these guys are all going to be looking way down the line. So, but yeah, you're spot on, Andrew. I think a great season opener here to start again. 30 cars, that's just incredible, and just the 3 yellows. And I mean, and again, nothing too egregious. Just some hard racing at the end of it, and one self spin that brought out a yellow. I mean, I gotta say, I thought that was a great job by all the drivers here tonight. So if you enjoy it, we'll be back again next week here as well on Tuesday nights. And we'll be back on Friday night for the Super Speedway Truck Series. And then Sunday night with the Xfinity Series. Both will be at iRacing Super Speedway over there. So for us, that'll do it for this evening. Andrew, as always, sir, it's a pleasure doing this with you. Always appreciate it. And then everybody that watches and supports us here on Green White Checkered TV, and of course the Area 51 League. Thank you all so much for being a part of this. As always, till next time, take care, stay safe, have a good night.